What is going on, everybody? Brent Abel here, goldballhunting.com. That dude over there, the great Jeff Jacklich. And yeah, another episode of the Gold Ball Hunting Podcast. Jeff doesn't know what's coming at him today.
No idea.
And it's going to be a good one. It's going to be not that all the other 339 of them, I don't know what's today, 338 or 339 or
something in that realm.
Let's just say it's a lofty number.
It's a lofty number.
Prolific,
yeah.
Lofty.
Should I put on safety glasses for this question? Or?
Yeah, you might want to get the helmet on too. You know,
helmet and a cup.
Well, cup, okay. I didn't know if we'd go there, but yeah. Anyway, guys, hang in there with us today. Another great episode of the Gold Ball Hunting Podcast. So the big question is this: how are tennis players like us who never played in the tour, weren't incredible juniors, or maybe got a late start to the game, how do we consistently compete at our highest skill level without having to grind through endless hours of on-court practice time and still be in the hunt for victory match after match? That is the question, and Gold Ball Hunting gives you the answers by helping you eliminate your skill level range so that you build a strong foundation of confidence. My name is Brent Abel, and along with my biz partner, Jeff Jacklich, welcome to Gold Ball Hunting. Jeffrey, my man, what's going on there, dude? I looked at the forecast last night I looked at the forecast for today. Looks like maybe a little soggy up there in the Northern California area.
Let me check. yeah.
Okay.
It's a little soggy.
God dang it. All right. Well,
yeah,
look,
a little soggy.
You and I have talked a lot about it's a rough go for tennis professionals in Northern California in the wintertime because, you know, it's not like we said, not like where you're down here in the desert and you pray for a day of rain because you're so beat up from just teaching, you know, endless hours. Or it's not like where you're in Seattle where you're teaching indoors all the time. You always got a court. Northern California. And look, why are we bringing this up? Because we want to help you guys generate a secondary source of income. It's coming. Hang in there with us. But we got some good ideas for you if you're in the tennis industry and looking for, you know, a little more dinero every month, which is never a bad thing.
Never.
Anyway, we got something coming. What, the next 30 days? You think?
Yeah,
maybe 22.
Well, yeah, I think I could. Well, yeah, you know, I'm going to be down in the desert starting the beginning of January, so we'll be in the same town, which means we're going to be using a whole lot more words than normal when we're not in the same town. So yeah, we might actually be able to push something through here and advance the cause, right?
For sure. Guys, what I want to talk about today is something that Jeff and I were kicking around. I think it might have been yesterday, Jeff, and of course you brought up you might want to back up a step or two on this one. But you and I are, you know, and as we typically do, we like to spend a few minutes kind of yakking just about stuff before we hit the record button. And typically what that does for us is give us ideas of topics that we think will help you guys become better players, meaning winning more singles and doubles matches. Jeff, you came up with this great line, which is, it's a question. Are you playing, quote, victim, unquote, tennis? So let that kind of marinate for a second and kind of sink in. Are you playing victim tennis? And it's really, it's really the difference, I think, between the guys who are winning the gold, the silver, and the bronze balls, right? The guys who are getting past the quarters into the semis of these category ones, the guys who are actually winning category twos. And you know, and so we want to help you guys who are, if you're still hanging out there in the first or second rounds and you're not getting through to at least the quarters in these tournaments, then you're going to want to really want to dig into this episode because this is an important mindset. So Jeff, when you said that question to me, give us an example, give us a story, give us Give us something that sort of what you went, dang, are you playing victim tennis?
Right. For me, it's, I mean, obviously I lived it. After I explain a little bit more, we all have lived it. And then it's a distinction when you start to kind of cross over and pass through the veil and get to the other side when you're actually in the hunt and actually feel like you're making headway and becoming one of those players that most of the guys would rather not have you first round. So it starts out with, how'd you do today, Jeff? And if the first things that come to my mind is what the other player did as my story for why I lost today, is I'm always, everything I list on my list of things of why I lost today is, boy, that guy had a really good approach shot. Boy, that guy had a really beautiful cross court topspin backhand. Boy, he just never missed his slice. He just never, and the list just grows. And so when you stop and take a look at that, there's nothing in that story about yourself, about what you did. Were you part of the problem? Did you cause? I mean, how many times can I say this guy had a really great approach shot? Okay, so what were you doing that created that pattern, that created that opportunity for this guy to use? And it's true, he may have a really great approach shot. So the question that is begged is, what were you doing to do something else so he didn't get that opportunity?
Yeah.
Now, there are some matches when you are completely outgunned. I've been there, lived it. I've lost.
There's
matches.
no question. I mean, this doesn't really apply. Yeah, well, look, I mean,
lost them as recently as I want to say 2016 or 2015, playing the national hard courts. The year John and I won our bronze. We played in the quarters. We lost 1-0 to Hessler and oh gosh, I can't think of his partner. I apologize for that. And they just played lights out, and it was that. But also, I wasn't putting the ball in play very well. All the stuff that I was doing also aided them having a beautiful day, and me helping them out by not being clear in my head, not, a whole list of things on my end of the deal. So was I a victim of them playing great? No. They played great, but I really helped them play great because I just wasn't hauling the freight that day in a whole list of different scenarios. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is that, when you play these national senior events, it's we're not segregated by skill level. We're simply segregated by age. And
Right.
So there's a time, if you're going to play the one or two top seeds, it could be that this player is, if you're a 4-0 and you got to play the number one seed is like a 5-0, you can't come off the court going, boy, that guy really had a great approach shot. I just couldn't, blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, you're not a victim in that case, right?
No.
You're not a victim. Maybe the only way that you're a victim is you need to work your ass a little bit harder on the,
you've got to come out of that
whatever
match and go, God, what a great opportunity to watch this guy work.
That's right. And to feel what that level's like. I mean, that's one thing I always
on the list of experiences.
That's right. So, but in the case that you just brought up, where you're playing some doubles against a couple of guys who are your equal. I mean, you're not going to get beat 1-0 every time you go out there, and in fact, they're not going to win every time. But there are days when, and I don't know, it's just like tennis guys are going, sprinkling fairy dust on this guy or this gal or that team over there, and throwing a little mud on you over here, and no matter what you do. And, look, I mean, in those cases, the only thing sometimes that you can do is, and we've talked about this, we haven't talked about it for a while, but if you got a guy over there who is sort of your equal, pretty close, but is playing lights out, and you are missing, you're contributing. They're playing lights out, you're contributing by missing your standard stuff. The first thing you have to do is, how can I stretch out time here? Right. How can I take the most amount of time between points within the rules of the game and just start stretching it out and really
how do I make the end of the match farther away.
How do you do that? And lots of times what happens is when you do that, is they kind of come back to reality, which is their normal. I mean,
Right.
we talk about skill level range, right? Well, so even if a top player's got a really small skill level range, there are some times when boom, they're way up here. And your job is not to overcome this. Your job is just to say, well, let's see how long today you can hang out up there.
Yeah. How long can I ride this, ride this horse till it bucks me off?
That's right. That's right. And just so, but other than that, and I kind of thought the other thing too that we were talking about with this today, Jeff, was how being a victim sometimes is the same thing as hit and watch.
Right. Totally.
Like I've hit a good shot, maybe it's intentional, maybe it's unintentional, but I've hit a good shot to a corner. My guy is totally stretched out over there. And now it's like, well, I'm going to wait to see what happens to me. And
right.
and actually I hit some yesterday with one of our students and I and
Oh,
we
that's
were
right. That's right.
and it was fun. It was fun. And we played third ball live, right? We just first two balls are cooperative, they're just rally balls, and the third ball the point's on. And man, he dinged one to a corner, and I'm stretched out, and I just kind of fluff it back. My just kind of get it back. I'm totally stretched out. I'm thinking, well, this is over, and I look up. I can barely see the guy. I mean, he's way
way off in the distance.
and I end up winning the point. And I should never have won that point ever.
Right.
And after the point, he goes, "Why didn't I come in?" And I said, "I don't know. Maybe you got dropped in your head as a kid. I don't know." No, I didn't say that. But it's that thing. Well, why didn't I come in? And that really is kind of that victim thing. Like I've hit a good shot, but I now have to see what's going to happen to me.
Right.
And
Is my opponent going to let me come in, or is my opponent going to let me win the point now?
yeah,
It's that pause, where you're not actually you're not actually in the present tense. And this is, when we use the term monitor and adjust. I can't even count how many balls I hit in a match over the course of a match that are unintentionally great.
yeah,
And if I'm
yeah,
not aware of that, I'm missing major opportunities at the most critical times to move the meter toward the victory that day. And so this kind of, again, going back to, are you playing victim tennis? You've got to be able to observe what are my instincts at the end of this match after I've lost. What's my story? What's the story I'm telling? And is it all about what he did to me? Oh, he has this, he has that, he has that. And when you're in that mode, you see your own skill set as kind of a non thing. Well, I tried to get it to his backhand, but or I tried to do this, I tried to do that, but he was just too good on this. And now we're not talking about the guys who are a level and a half above you. I'm talking about guys who are your peer group, or just maybe the guys a little bit better, and you should be doing better against these guys than you're doing. The reality is you're not actually looking at what's going on with you're looking through it through victim rose-colored glasses. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're not, you've got to look through that match at the reality of what's going on, and which means you're completely unaware of when you actually inflict pain, and where should you be going based on that. It's risk. It's risk reward. And if you're not aware of when you unintentionally inflict pain, then there is no reward to be gathered. There's no reward payoff. And that's, I think, probably a big missing, blind spot for a lot of players, is because they're unaware of the reality of what they just delivered, they don't even see the possibility of reaping the reward of that unintentional great shot. because there's more in that moment. There's more of those going on in a match than you realize for both players.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. So look, guys, I guess that when I think of playing victim tennis, it really gets down to another way of looking at it is waiting around to see what bad things about to happen to you. And so what we do is we cover our bases, like in the description I gave with one of the points what we played yesterday. Look, I mean, whether it's intentional or not, and most of the time for me, Jeff, most of my really, really great shots are unintentional, and that doesn't mean that I'm less of a player.
No,
it means it's just a reality of tennis, and but that's kind of off the point. But I just want to make sure.
Well, you know what? That's an interesting. I think it's an interesting phenomenon. I'm going to call it that. It's an interesting phenomenon when you start to be aware of those moments, and you start to gain. We talk about skill level range, and when you start to reduce that skill level range, and you're gaining and scratching it, getting a little more confident in what you're doing, confident in your shot selection, confident that the ball's landing in more often, all those things. Being the benefactor of balls that are unintentionally better than you were hoping, those things increase because we tend to swing a little freer at the ball because we're not worried about whether the ball is going in or not. We're hitting some good major targets and things. So it's a phenomenon that, and that's what I described. I'm sure you've experienced it. You just things tend to kind of go your way, as well as the other guy too. If he's swinging free and doing things, the tape ball tends to roll over.
Well, look, I mean,
things seem to move in a better direction when you're in that mode.
So we are getting off topic here, but I want to keep going. I want to keep going on this unintentional thing. So, look, so I play with my buddy Owen, a couple times a week out here in the grass, and we play points. And I think one of the things that I mentioned to him the other day is, and he loves it when I hit an unintentional shot that that wins the point. He looks at me like, "You are so lucky," I just go, okay, well, would you rather hit an unintentional shot that goes in or an unintentional shot that goes out? I think I asked him, I said, are you ever intending to hit a shot that goes out? He goes, no. And I said, well, okay. So I would rather have unintentional shots that actually stay in, right? I'm not intending for, anyway. So as you were talking about sort of bigger targets, one thing that I was relating to with the unintentional thing, guys, if you go for a bigger target, and a bigger target is generally, a certain height over the top of the net, it's generally more in the middle third of the court. But if you're a hair early, unintentionally, the ball goes cross court, stays in the court. If you're a hair late, unintentionally, the ball goes up the line and stays in the court. If your target is small, meaning that it's a spot close to the line over there, God dang it, man. If you're a hair early, if you're going cross court, it's out. And that was an unintentional thing, but it's out. And if you're going up the line and you're a hair late,
right,
you're unintentionally hitting the ball out. So what's my point? Bigger targets, and you got to accept the reality that you're going to have some unintended timing things. And when you have a big target in the middle of the court and you either early or late, boom, perfect.
Yes.
Could not hit a better shot if you tried.
Right. When it happens, you stand up, you stick your chest out, and you walk across the court to the next place to return serve or serve. Like, you know what? I own that shot.
That's right.
You act like you own it.
That's right.
I mean, and that's part of circling back, playing the victim. It's all part of it. Are you own the reality of what happened, good or bad, because that's the only way to actually get honest feedback and actually make adjustments in your game and move the meter to the positive side. So I think as much as this is a little bit of a rabbit trail, it is, though, it's an awareness And that's what being the victim is. It's an unawareness or a denial of the reality of match play. And are you being the observer of your own match play so you can make corrections or, talk with your pro or whoever's coaching you, helping you along the way?
Well, the example you brought up initially was some guys guy just played a great approach shot all day long. Well, look, I mean, the only reason someone plays a great approach shot all day long is because you've hit the ball short in the court and the ball's sitting up and they can do whatever they want. So, if it could be that there's somewhere in there's a pattern that's being played that actually is yielding that opportunity to your opponent. So what could you do differently, right? And well, man, I was really teeing up on my big topper forehand. Well, maybe the guy's sliding. Maybe the guy's sliding their backhand into your forehand, saying, "Come on, man, let's see that big topper." Oh, there's a big topper, but it's short again.
Right.
And there was something yesterday that we kind of worked on, which was he would earn a short ball, and then try to play the most difficult possible approach, which was a topper.
Right.
And I just said, look, man, I mean, technically you're looking like 5'5", 6'0" to be able to make that thing work.
Right. Consistently.
Maybe and he even said like there was one out of maybe 8 times where it did work. And he goes, God dang it. It's like a drug. Just keeps me coming back for one time.
Right? It's like playing 18 holes of golf and you hit one good drive.
Right.
It's enough. I'm coming back tomorrow.
That's right.
So I want to touch on something here. I know we're getting kind of lengthy here, but anyway, looking back at, we talked about, are you hitting this, you're going for your big topper forehand, and where is it landing in the court, right? Is it landing shallow? Because that is a possibility when you go heavy topspin. It can if depending on your level of play. And so way back in the day when Bjorn Borg hit the scene, and Connors just used to, initially just beat him senseless, because Connors was all about taking the ball on the rise and not giving his opponent just a breath.
Right. He
was always just like this, constantly coming at you. And so Borg initially, his top spin balls off both sides is kind of unique and non-traditional as his strokes were at that time. Everything landed shallow. That ball was landing around the service line and all that. And so Connors was all over it. And until Borg and his coach Leonard Berglund, figured it out, like they kept working at it, and then all of a sudden Borg's ball never landed shallower than 3 feet from the baseline. Well, that changed everything. But initially, when Borg hit the scene, his ball, as much as it went in all the time, was a service line bouncer, which was just, for Connors, that was just a buffet.
Well, look, and before he got to that level, he's either playing juniors or he's doing whatever he's doing. But at that level before, a service line bouncer off a Borg topper was probably fine.
It was fine.
But and it's the same, we can make the same comparison to playing senior tournaments. Unless you're playing a top guy in the first round, if you're playing, someone who's not as strong, you might be able to get away with certain stuff.
Right.
But if you really, really want to get to that ball round, if you really want to take your league rating label and go to the next higher rating label, it's not really about technique. It's really about, well, where are you going to make the ball land over there, and where are you going to move to next on the court? Right. I mean, it's just those two things. Stop thinking that you need more revolutions on your top or forehand. Stop thinking that you got to get more bite or this or power or blah, blah, blah. No, it's all about where are you going to practice in a way that will, or how are you going to practice in a way that you consistently make the ball land over there without thinking about technique.
Right.
And then once you make it land over there, I'm telling you, Now all of a sudden you're going to be presented with on a silver platter all day long, the short ball or opportunities. Right. And don't be the victim waiting around to see what happens to you. Just assume it's going to be short. God, yesterday I played, I was playing our guy yesterday, and I hit a ball, just a standard ball, but I got him a little stretched out to his backhand side, and he went over there, and you know how he does. He takes that topper backhand, crushed it. And I stepped in. I was probably maybe 3 feet inside the baseline. And I just took it in the fly.
Yeah.
And I just knocked it over to the open court, and he went, "What?"
Right.
He said, that's really that's a great shot. And I said, it's the easiest shot in the world. All I did was put my racket behind the power you gave me. I didn't, fancy carve. I just took it. You were still stuck out there. And he goes,
blocked it over there.
Wow. So anyway, I think we've veered way off.
And all over the place.
I mean, hopefully we've come back to some sense of.
I think it all does relate back to being the victim.
Good.
I mean, just
tremendous. All right. Well, listen, guys. Jeff and I are hosting 2 workshops down in the desert, Thursday and Friday, January 16th and 17th. And whether you were playing any of the tournaments in the desert in January, it'd be a great opportunity for you to come in for a day. Each day is going to be super packed with some great stuff in terms of on-court instruction, off-court instruction, video. And then we got a super legend gold baller coming into Yak Attack. And hopefully, eventually you guys will come away with some real clarity about kind of the stuff that we talked about today, Jeff, is where do you want the ball to land over there, and where do you want to move to next? And once you understand that, you start to realize that, God, I don't need all this goofy technique over here to do that.
Nope.
So the way to do that is right below the video in the description area. Depending on where you are, there's a link that will take you to our video, to our info video on what we've got for you. It's about a 20-minute video. And if you already know that you want in, there's also a link down below to take you to the application, because we got to vet everybody to make sure that we have the right skill levels all organized.
And if you've already filled out the application, we'll be getting back to you shortly.
Don't need to do it again.
Don't need to do it again.
Okay. Anyway, so with that said, Jeff, what do we want fine folks to do right now?
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below. iTunes and Stitcher, rate and review. Goldballhunting.com. Come on. Okay. You know you want to.
Guys, get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day. Jeff, we're doing this again tomorrow.
Can't wait.